to the clock. And from that point, I will say welcome again because now it's recording. I'm going to pin bin, spotlight bin for everybody, and I will let you take it from here, my friend.
Thank you so much, Tahira. And yeah, like Tahira mentioned, we've discussed possibly doing a series of tastings like this, if you guys are liking the experience. So trust me, I know when we're talking about women and wine, no one wants to hear from a man, including myself. But this was already something T and I discussed about doing a series, and I am more than happy um, to present some of our wines and some of our incredible winemakers. And like Tahira mentioned, I do like to be really interactive, especially because we have a smaller group here. I didn't really know how many people would be joining. I have a little deck we'll run through with some fun, well, some slides. But this is a judgment free zone. So no pressure if you don't want to put your video on, but if you're in PJs, if you're with the crew drinking, whatever, it's nice to see you. I do ask questions, so it's nice to see people's hands. If you don't want to go on screen, if you are able to throw in like a thumbs up or whatnot, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. And all good if you just want to kick back too. But all good either way. But I do like to be interactive, and this is a great opportunity for you to ask questions. I know we're all either wine professionals or professionally drinking, and we all have different levels of wine. So I'm based here in wine country. I live in Sonoma County. I live in the Russian River Valley. So it is an opportunity if you want to ask any questions or comments, you can ask them. You can throw them in the chat, whatever you want to do. Let me get the chat going because I'm already seeing some fun. Okay, I hear you. I hear you. Shout out Monica. Good to see you. So I've been able to make some great friends over the last few years at Tahira's Wine and Culture Fest, and Monica was out I guess a couple months ago, and we got to hang at one of our wineries. So just so y'all know, like you probably already learned, we got my discount going for you guys anytime you want to use your wine store. And if you're ever able to make it to California or Oregon, I will set you up at our wineries complimentary. So please, let me know. Um, with that, are all of us working in wine? Okay, some yes, some no, but we all like wine. Yeah, even more so the ones that probably don't work in it. Very cool. So yeah, what we're gonna do? I picked four different wines. Does anyone have the wines? There wasn't any expectation. Okay, Monica, there we go. Nice, cool. All good. I'm sure everyone's sipping something back there, and we're gonna talk. And I do want to catch you up since just so you know what's going on in wine country right now. It's been hot. So I swear, March this year has been hotter than like June last year. Last year was this really cold year. We had no fires, which is always like, okay, it's a great harvest because there was no fires. Knock on wood, we've been good since 2020, but it was cold. We had some here at Jackson Family. We're all about coastal vineyards, and so if you've been to the Pacific Ocean, this is not South Beach. All right, it's really really cold. So we had some vines that we didn't pick fruit until around Thanksgiving. So that's crazy. And I don't think that's going to be the case this year. Um, quite opposite. We already have the canopies growing. Like literally, people were pruning, right? Cutting back last year's vines, dead sticks. And then the next day, you have the canopy growing. So it's very weird out here. It's hot, but that's all right. That could mean we're going to have more fruit, which could be good, could drop prices a little. We all know right now the alcohol industry is in a weird place. But yeah, so that's what's going on. Any questions about, what's going on in the vines at any point, just let me know. I'm going to pull this up so y'all can learn a little bit more about Jackson Family. Let me find it and I'll share. All right, here we go. I am not the most technical, so bear with me 1 second. Um, all right, let me jump back to y'all. I'm going to share my screen. Host disabled. Hey, Tahira.
Yes.
It host disabled attendee screen sharing.
I did not. No, I did
I'm gonna
not.
let you work on that, and we're gonna keep on flowing. All right. So just to tell you guys about Jackson Family Wines, you've probably never heard of Jackson Family Wines or JFW. We don't promote it, but I have a feeling you've heard of Kendall Jackson, maybe La Crema, right? I always joke Kendall Jackson smells like my paycheck. La Crema smells like my bonus, right? These are the wines that at your local supermarket, it's on 6 continents. I mean, I guarantee you someone's drinking it in Antarctica. It's probably on all 7 continents, right? It's everywhere. Um, and we don't hide the fact that we produce a lot of those wines because we do it the right way. And if we have time, we'll get into that. I don't want to bore you with all those sorts of things right now. But then we also have wineries like Verite, La Coya, right? Wineries that have scored 100 points more than any other California wineries. The ones that if I didn't work for, I would never get to taste because they're like $400 a pop, right? And then we have everything in between, right? Affordable, mid, um, and that's what's great. We are family owned and operated, and the difference is we all hear like we'll see it family owned on, doesn't matter if it's wine or a brand, but maybe the family's not making any decisions. This family has a 300-year plan, right? They are onto the third generation of vintners. I work for like 3, 4, 5, 6 year olds right now. And that's what's cool because we're not a public company, meaning they don't answer to anyone. But they got a shit ton of money. Oh, wait, we're recording, whatever. So it's the best of both worlds. They have the money, but they invest it in the things we care about. So we own just in California alone 45,000 acres. And that's right after the government, it's us. But we only plant about 13,000 of those acres because it's all about that. We don't want to cause erosion, right? It's not about how many grapes can we grow and how much wine can we make. It's about taking care of the land. We track migration patterns, right? So if the foxes go here every year, we don't want to plant something to disrupt that, right? If the mountain lions, and yes, there are lots of mountain lions are over here, we're not going to do anything to disrupt that. So it's really cool. It makes my job a lot easier because I believe in our mindset. I believe in the wines. And when you farm like that, the wines reflect themselves better. Let's see if, all right, still can't share. That's okay. I can do this all day. So the first wine, and I know you have it, Monica. So we have the that's a good idea. Yeah, if you can make me a co-host, T. Um,
You are a
the
co-host. That's the first thing I did. I might have to make
first,
you a host because I'm not under. I didn't do anything to the settings, so
yeah, it's weird. It just says attendees disabled attendee screen sharing. Maybe if you enable attendee screen sharing.
where,
Uh,
where, where would it
oh, I'm so
host
sorry.
host tools? You know,
You can work on that. Who here's drinking Chenin Blanc? Not right now, but like who here's hearing about Chenin Blanc has started, right? Like 5 years ago, rose, rose, rose. We came out of COVID and it was Sauv Blanc. Right now, with white wine, Albarino and Chenin Blanc are so hot right now. And it's come at a good time, right? We have the younger generations. I'm throwing us in there as well. We're still young. They're not like our parents and our grandparents. Our folks, they pull up to the bar. I want my makers on the rocks, 3 fingers. This is how I like it, right? The new generations, they want to try different things. They pull up. They're not calling it a bartender. They're calling it a mixologist. They want to know where they're from. They want to know what's hot right now. Is it local? Is it sustainable? And that's what's cool because honestly, the past generations of wine consumers and people in the industry, it's like, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Cabernet Sauvignon. Those aren't going anywhere, but there are so many great other wines out there. The reason you don't hear more about Chenin Blanc is it takes money to make money in the wine industry, right? If I plant Chardonnay, I'm not going to get fruit for the first few years. And then from year 3 to 5, those grapes aren't quality enough to make a high quality Chardonnay. So let's say you pick your Chardonnay grapes in year 7, still got to age it and ferment it, bottle it. You might not be able to sell that bottle till dang near 10 years in, right? So vineyard growers and winemakers are like, why would I uproot my Chardonnay that I know would sell to plant a grape like Chenin Blanc that I don't know will do as well, right? So that's been the struggle in years past. But what's happening is Mother Nature, it's no longer about what the critics want. It's about what Mother Nature's telling us because Mother Nature is undefeated. And because it's getting hotter here, and there's constant threats of fire, we have to plant grapes that are heat resistant and drought resistant, just like those grapes I mentioned: Chenin, Albarino, Assyrtiko, Vermentino, all the grapes that are hard to say but fun to drink, right? So trust me, we've been planting them the last 5+ years. We got to take time, but in another 5 years, everyone's going to be drinking it. And Chenin Blanc is a great wine. It's kind of like Chardonnay. It's a blank canvas. You can make sweet Chenin, you can make sparkling Chenin, you can make dry Chenin Blanc, and they're all great. Oh, now we're rolling. Okay, entire screen. Here we go. Okay, are you all seeing what I'm? Are you guys seeing a PowerPoint? And
Yep.
if okay, thank you. Sorry, I couldn't see. Also, okay, perfect. All right, let's get into it. All right, we're gonna do a little catch up. Come on. We might. Okay. So these are the wines that we're talking about that Monica and I are sipping on. Um, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Matanzas Creek. It's a winery that was really known for the Sauvignon Blanc and Merlot back in the 80s. I think you all know, that movie Sideways really destroyed Merlot in terms in the United States. But truthfully, Merlot and Merlot blends are are some of the most expensive and sought after around the world, right? And sorry, I'm trying to see if I can see y'all. Why? And we're still recovering from that, but that's what Matanzas Creek was known for. But really getting to Chenin Blanc. But here, just to go back to Jackson Family, we have it's probably I didn't count, but like halfway, half and half. We have a lot of women winemakers. Our company's owned by a woman. Her and her two daughters and one son run the company. A lot of our VPs and executive teams are women, and um, I think what's nice about our company is we don't hire someone just to hire someone. We hire the right person for the job. And for so long, the wine industry has been like this old white male consumed industry, and that's just garbage, right? I mean, wine is universal, right? It's drunk everywhere. It's fermented grape juice. It happens with or without humans. I mean, certain species of monkeys consume about 2 glasses a day from constantly fermenting fruit. Wine is universal. It makes food taste better. So it should be universally employed as well. So we have just incredible winemakers all over the place. Um, okay, come on now. All right, sorry, there's gonna be a little delay. So Matanzas. So when it comes to just badass women that work for our company, as you guys sip your Shannon or whatever you're sipping on, Marcia. So Marcia is from Chile, and she is so badass. If you know a chef or a winemaker or whatever, these people that they've been recognized for so long, like there's certain chefs that are like, oh, I've been cooking for 25 years, but I haven't been in the kitchen the last 5 because I've been traveling and shaking hands and making appearances. That is not her. She's made wine all over the world. She's helped make Cardinal, which is one of the most regarded Napa wines out there. But she is so hands-on. We call her a dirt licker. She will taste soil and be like, oh, I want to plant this clone of Sauvignon Blanc, right? She's really hands-on. She tastes grapes, and that's when she knows she wants to pick it. And she is just a great embodiment of just being badass. She's so sweet, but I've been in meetings when marketing's like, "Oh, we need you to release your rosé by Valentine's Day for the marketing campaign." She's like, "No, it's not going to be ready then." And I love that. We've talked over the years, and she's told me her story. And being in Chile, women, her family worked in wine, but only the men. The women weren't allowed to, and she just kept bugging her dad, just being that annoying over the shoulder, wanting to get involved. And of course, he let her get in, and she was great. She learned how to work the vineyards, then she got into the winery, and the rest is history. But she's been working with us for over a decade, and her story. If you guys ever really want to, you know, talk to someone, I will put you in touch with her because she loves empowering people, and it is hard to find a space in wine. Like I won't lie, I got involved in wine because I'm from wine country and I knew people working in wine. And that story is so typical. And so for me, my background's international development. And so to bring the wine world to the rest of the world and to people that can't always get their hands on it, kind of just like the Hughes Society, is super important to me and Marcia. Also, her wines are crazy. So here's just a cool. Are you guys able to see Brandon in the corner, or is it just me?
Oh yeah. I was about to say I just flipped back and I see myself.
Okay, okay, all right. Let me. Sorry. So, but just so you can see, like I love these aroma circles we make because Chenin Blanc's new to us. So if you look around and see like the sort of notes you can get from it, you might be recognizing like, oh yeah, that reminds me of Chardonnay or Riesling because you can make it in all these different ways, but it kind of totes that line of citrus fruit and orchard fruit. Not so much in the tropical, but you do get a little bit of that passion fruit guava. But we're not thinking like mango, papaya, like you might with some Chardonnays. And then you can see once it makes its way to the bottle, it can be savory, it can be lean, sparkling, and then like a late harvest dessert wine. Come on now. Sorry, when I go silent, it's because this thing's delaying a little bit. Come on. Just a little info. You know what? I know it's just Monica that has that wine. Let's not even bother with this. Monica, if you want the details on these wines, I will send you this. Um, so I'm gonna go back full screen here and we can just talk really quickly. Oh, he's gone. Um, who here has ever heard of the wine region Bennett Valley? Thank y'all for not lying. No one knows Bennett Valley. No one knows it. All right. I grew up 15 minutes from Bennett Valley. I would only go there for one reason in high school because there was like a pizza chicken wing spot and then it closed down. So I never went there. Bennett Valley is a super small, tiny little region. Matanzas Creek is the only winery that is open in Bennett Valley to visit. It's mostly an area of a lot of vineyards growing, and then wineries purchase the fruit from growers. But it's beautiful. And if you've heard of the Petaluma Gap, the Petaluma Gap is one of those newer California, what we call AVAs or regions. So if anyone's ever visited California or San Francisco, you fly in, you drive over the bridge, and you look over or you put your window down to feel it, and you're like, okay, that's frigid, super cold, shark infested, right? It's really, really cold wind and air. And so what happens is all that cool fog and wind, and we call our fog Carl. So if you hear me mention Carl, I'm talking about the fog. It makes its way to this Petaluma Gap. The Petaluma Gap is tucked in between two hillsides. So just imagine a funnel of this cool wind and air. So that's why you're hearing about Petaluma Gap and why it got certified as a region, because the grapes that are growing there are unlike any place else. It's like 400 to 800-foot elevation, um, adobe clay. So just straight up think clay. And like if you punch through it, like it's going to hurt your hand more than the clay. So imagine vines having to, right? So they have to work really hard to find water and minerals. And so we like that. You want your vines to work hard, right? You don't want them growing in lush, easy soils. That just makes really big grapes. You don't want big grapes. They're just full of water. You want small little money berries, right? Concentrated acid, sugar. Would y'all mind dropping in the chat what you're drinking? I would just love to know. Um, so that's Matanzas Creek. That's Chenin Blanc. I really suggest getting on Chenin, especially right now before people start charging more because it gets so hot and popular. Um, and Chenin is just fun. If you have a dry Chenin, I would think kind of pair it like how you would pair it with Chardonnay, right? Chickens, pesto, white pastas. But if it has a slight sweetness to it, now we're talking Thai food, a little bit of spice, right? No, has no one wrote what they're dropping, or am I not in the, don't, there we go. Oh, I love to hear Merlot. Thank you, Jamila. Yes, we love Merlot. Oh, a little Trebbiano. Okay. California. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. Red Zin. I really appreciate that. Brandon, what Zin is it? Do you mind draw? Is it Paso Robles area? Is it Dry Creek? Do you know?
I think it's Dry Creek.
Dry Creek. Cool.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have to look at the bottle again.
Yeah. Sorry to put you on the spot. I just like not knowing what I got 4 glasses in front of me, so I guess I should start. Yeah, this is I don't really like the label, to be honest. We won't share this with the Matanzas marketing team, but this is screw top, right? I don't know how y'all feel about screw cap. I feel like every white wine should be screw cap, right? First off, we've learned that you can age wines fine in screw cap. It does great. Some do even better. White wines, chill, you're going to drink, at a good rate, probably going to pop 2 bottles. You might be in a body of water. So screw cap makes it easy. Screw cap never indicates a bottle is lesser or cheaper, right? They're doing screw cap in France. That's how you know it's real, right? I think every white wine in Australia is screw cap. A little Bordeaux. Okay, Teresa, I see you. A little bit of everything. I love that. All right. Very cool. All right. I'm going to jump back into here. We're going to talk about the second wine that Monica and I are enjoying. This is a Chardonnay from Cambria. So it's a bunch of women and Brandon, as you can see. All right. So Barbara on the left, she runs the company. So her and Jess Jackson started Kendall Jackson and Jackson Family Wines in 1982. Jess passed away in 2012, and she's run the company ever since. She's been recognized as Wine Personality of the Year. We like to joke. We shop on Amazon. She shops on Google Earth because the family's been very successful. If she can invest in somewhere where it's coastal vineyards, we can own it. She's going to investigate in it, right? We just purchased land in Sussex, England, because as climate change continues to happen, it's getting a little warmer there. And we think it's going to be like Cava, like how Spain sparkling popped off 15 years ago. So she kind of has that pioneering spirit of trying to be on top of regions before they get really popular. You can see the 2 daughters, Catherine and Julia. It's really funny. So we're drinking Catherine Chardonnay, and it's easy to remember because Catherine's vineyard is Chardonnay and she's blonde, and Julia's vineyard is Pinot and she's brunette. But Catherine and Julia both help run the company. Catherine focuses on sustainability, and Julia started Grounded, which is a climate change. I kid you not. Last time I saw her, she hosted a dinner. She brought in leaders from the Amazon rainforest, and they were teaching us about how we can apply, conservation to the wine world, which is really cool. And then the rest of the Cambria team, Jill is the head winemaker. Denise was the winemaker for decades and now is the GM. And then Katie is the wine sort of educator ambassador. Come on. Slide. There we go. So just some interesting things. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Cambria before. It was one of the first wineries really in Santa Barbara. And Santa Barbara is cool, right? I'm here in Russian River Valley. When we think of Russian River Valley, like I mentioned, it's the fog. It's hot during the day, it gets cold at night, and we wake up to fog all the time. Santa Barbara is way different. There's a reason people want a vacation there, right? It's like 70s with a light breeze, and it doesn't get cold at night. We want to be there. The grapes want to be there. We call it refrigerated sunshine, right? So imagine your grape growing, you're in the sun, but you're not getting sunburnt. You're just enjoying the breeze, and that's really important. So Santa Barbara has the longest growing season in the United States for sort of world-class wines. The fruit might blossom early in March, or excuse me, the flower might blossom early in March, but we won't pick fruit on Pinot Noir and Chardonnay until mid to late October. There she is, a little info about Jill. I realize this is nowhere near as interesting when we don't have the wine in front of us. Just another thing we do. So Cambria is all about donating to women-run foundations. And so we pick different groups every year. And you can see this last year, we did 5G with 2 different groups, Girls Who Code. So I can barely get a PowerPoint going. So coding, the fact that we're empowering that, I think is great because so many people don't have access to laptops. I study international development. I lived in El Salvador, and I got to see that firsthand and just meet the most brilliant kids who were so resourceful with the least in front of them. And So it's just so cool to empower people like that. And then Tree Sisters, which is about, as you can see, ethically um, planting forests and taking care of the land. And we know how important that is. Also, if you notice this photo, Cambria is crazy. Like the average stint, the tenure that people have worked there is like 25 years, which is cool. I've been with the company almost 13 years, and it's just nice to work for a company you believe in. A little more about the wine for Monica. Monica, I know you. You don't mind getting put on the spot. Can we talk about those first, or let's talk about this Chardonnay real quick. And don't worry, the winemaker's not here. I'd love to know, what do you think of it?
I think for a Chardonnay, it's really good. It's not overly oaky. You're not getting cream and butter. It's like
Yeah,
medium body. So I feel like it's a good Chardonnay.
yeah.
In honesty. It's not like the
It-
guys from like Chablis. So I think it's like middle of the road when it comes to the Chardonnay experience. And the finish is
Thank you.
smooth. It's kind of quick. It doesn't linger too much, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, and I like. So you said pretty good for a Chardonnay. So you're not. So Chards aren't your go-to.
Sauv Blanc is my go-to.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
I
Okay.
was happy that this wasn't overly buttery.
Yeah. So this Chardonnay spent half of it spent time in stainless steel, half of it in oak. Um, but just a little of it's new, right? When you use a new barrel, that means that juice that's in there, that's the first thing that's been in that barrel. So all those oak flavors, the right, if it's American oak, you get like the herb dill, you get vanilla, it's sweeter. If it's French oak, the nuttiness, the hazelnut, the caramel, the chocolate, the vanilla, it's intense, right? But like you said, yeah, the finish wasn't as long, but that's because there's not a lot of new oak, and it's just sort of supposed to be like an elegant, like you said, this is not a this Chardonnay, I believe, is priced around gosh, I never deal with our numbers, so I'm the worst for this. I'm gonna say somewhere between like around $30, and it's a great Chardonnay. Um, what do you think of the Chenin?
The Chenin I don't have. I do like Chenin.
Okay, cool.
I like it for the dryness and how light it is.
Yeah,
Only
yeah,
had South African Chenin box.
yeah. Oh yeah, Steen. They call it right. They call it Steen down there. So, um, yeah, I think Chardonnay is one of those things. We all get Chardonnay fatigue, but it's important, right? Get some stainless steel Chardonnays. Get some sparkling Chardonnay. Have Chardonnay with food, right? Like, trust me, I'm out here in Russian River Valley. My goodness, cougar, right? Cougar juice, milk, right? We all where California Chardonnay was it come from. So trust me, I know it, but it's important to change it up a little bit. Oh, cool, Cortesa. Okay, you know about the Viognier? Yeah. So, Viognier, I feel like Viognier is the white grape, is like the Merlot to the white grape, where there's nothing wrong with it. It just gets overlooked. Viognier has a lot of the same qualities as Chardonnay, right? A lot of orchard, apricot, peach, stone fruit, super floral, arguably more floral than Chardonnay, but it doesn't maintain acidity as well. So the wine experience can be a little flabby, right? When you drink your wine or whatever you're sipping on, notice, on your palate what's happening. If it's making your mouth water, if you're salivating, we like that. That's acid, right? Acid makes wines pair better with food. It's what allows wines to age well. So Viognier is great. It just gets overlooked. If you want to try ours on the Your Wine Store, we make a Viognier from Penner Ash, which is an Oregon winery, Freemark Abbey in Napa, Cambria, as Cortesa mentioned, and another one, but I'm forgetting. That's what happens when you represent like 50 wineries. Very cool, very cool. I think we'll just keep blowing through the slides, and then we'll just talk and hang out and talk about wine country. I hope that works for everyone else, because this going back and forth is just not okay. I love images like this because I'm a creative learner. I'm not good at instructions in front of me. I'm like, what did we just learn? I love this map though. So we talked about the refrigerated sunshine, but another thing that makes Santa Barbara so cool, especially southern Santa Barbara, this is why it's so important to have coastal fruit here. If you were on your motorcycle diaries hype and you wanted to go from Canada all the way through the United States, Washington, Oregon, California, Mexico, down to South America till you hit Chile, all mountain ranges run north and south, except here. These three mountain ranges go east west. We call that transverse. So you can see, what does that mean? Well, what we do is we plant our grapes super close to that. So all just like the Petaluma Gap, all this cold ocean wind gets sucked in and just coats our fruit. So we're not growing at the highest elevation, anywhere from sea level to about 800 feet, but it just gets dumped on with this cold wind. And that's awesome. That's how you preserve acidity. It's how you keep your grapes fresh. Super important. This will be the longest word we talk about today. Oh, calm down, Ben. Diatomaceous earth. Everyone say it back. You're on mic. Go for it. Right. Diatomaceous is just a long way to say stuff that was once at the bottom of the ocean, right? On the seabed. So when you look at these vineyards, you're walking, you're hearing it crackling, you're stepping on seashells and fossilized fish scales. It's really cool. And that lends itself to even more acidity. So it's a really cool region. That's what really makes Santa Barbara, we call it like the three sirens, these three mountain ranges, and then that refrigerated sunshine. Weird map, but this is just where the Cambria Chardonnay came from. So you can just kind of see there's what's flowing right here. And this was one of the first commercial vineyards in 1984 planted. And you can see Cortez didn't lie, Viognier planted, good call. And then there you can see diatomaceous, limestone, gravel, like it's straight up sand sometimes you're walking in. Yeah, and that's what makes Cambria cool. We'll jump into reds now. So now Monica and I are sipping on some Pinot from Penner Ash. That's what it looks like. Come visit us. By the way, there's an airport 5 minutes from me in Russian River Valley. You come, I'll set you up here. You fly right to Oregon. Boom. All right. So when you talk about Willamette Valley, first off, I don't have an image of her, but I've partied with her a lot. Her name's Eugenia. She's married to a man named David Adelsheim. Maybe some of you have heard of Adelsheim because there's Adelsheim Vineyards. They are the first couple of Willamette Valley. So he created the sub AVAs in Willamette. They are so badass. Eugenia, you could hang with her all day and talk wine. You could hang with her all day and talk about everything but wine. She's incredible. She is the GM of, we have 4 wineries up there, and she's the GM of all the wineries. So she has her hand in all the winemaking that's going on. And she is just so cool. And I'm being recorded, so I'm not going to say some of the things that I want about Eugenia, but she's always down to have a good time. I'm going to go back to this. Sorry for going back and forth. Lynn Penner Ash. She was the first woman in Napa to have her own winery. First woman winemaker to have her own. So just incredible, really cool story. Actually started out in DC and then came out to California to study. And, I can't speak for her and say it's always been about like her making sure that it's only women winemaking for Penner Ash, but she has kept that alive so far with Kate Ayers, who has been our winemaker since the head winemaker since 2018. So, once again, just know Oregon winemaking is in good hands. And these women are just super talented and Willamette Pinot is hot. People get fatigued from California Pinot Noir sometimes, and Oregon wine's incredible. We want to remember, you'll hear people say, Willamette Pinot Noir, oh, it's more Burgundian. Nothing's going to piss off someone from Willamette Valley more than saying that. Obviously, it's a compliment to be like, oh, your wine reminds me of Burgundy, but their wines are Oregonian, right? You can't fake what's happening there. They have their unique soil types. And so look at this map down here, just to note what makes Willamette Valley. So you can see it's coastal, but there is the Coast Mountain Range to its west and the Cascade Mountain Range to its east. What that means is it gets the rain shadow effect. So we always hear, oh, it's so rainy in Oregon. Well, yeah, certain parts, but not when you're tucked in between 2 mountain ranges, because those mountain ranges eat it up. So you don't get as much rain. It's more moderate. Also, summers in Oregon are super hot, but you're blocked by these 2 ranges, so you don't get as much sun. Legally, you can only grow, gosh, what is it? I want to say it's 200 to 1,200 feet in Oregon. So out here, we have vineyards that are growing almost 3,000 feet. Legally, you can't do that in Oregon. So they're not super close to the sun. And so that's how you get this moderate temperature, and they're tucked in between these 2 ranges. The soil types are basically two different types. You have the Willackenzie, which is marine sedimentary. So think back to like ice ages. Pretty much what happened was a big old snowball, an ice ball was going through the land like humongous and picking up things as it went and then breaking apart. And that's that sedimentary soil. You also have volcanic soil called Jory. So your grapes, anytime you're drinking Willamette wine, there's a really good chance that's what your grapes grew in. So that sedimentary is going to really help with sort of crisp, clean, acid-driven, linear, and then that Jory, that red, you can get that like that tomato leaf with Pinot Noir, almost like a bloody, iron-rich aspect to it. And you can see these are our vineyards, and yeah. Another cool thing about us, we were the first live certified. The live, that's just the sustainability certified in Oregon, and we're you can see doing some fun things with salmon, and we could do a whole presentation on regenerative farming, sustainability, all that fun stuff. Monica, just so you can see what you're drinking, you have a Pinot Noir in front of you, and yeah, I'm going to jump back so I can see everyone, see if there's any questions. You've had the Penerash, plushness, presence. Yeah, right. So not just California where you can get that plush ripe fruit. Oregon can definitely do it too, especially if it's a hot year. You get more into like that blood orange, what we call high-toned red fruit, cranberry, pomegranate. Here in Russian River, it's like black cherry, cola. But you get a lot of like tea, savory, and Oregon tends to reflect like what grows there, right? It goes well with salmon. You get sort of that danky, funky, shroomy mushroom aspect to it, and it has even like a lighter color to the wine. And yeah, any questions about Pinot, about Oregon, when you want to visit? I can only see you guys so often. I hope you're sipping a lot, enjoying. All right, let's wrap up with this Cabernet, and then we'll just hang out and talk. And I'd love to hear from y'all. I'm going to jump back over here. Actually, I need to let me see what's going on here. There we go. All right, let's not even bother about that. All right, La Crema. So La Crema just won last year Winery of the Year by Wine Enthusiast. And look, you guys all raised your hands like, oh yeah, we know La Crema, but we know it for, as Tahira would call it, supermarket wine. And yeah, we have La Crema in supermarkets, but when you visit us, that's when you get to see our winemaking pedigree. We have a bunch of single vineyard 94, 95, 96, 97 point scoring wines that are growing on mountain vineyards, which are 3 times as much cost to farm, and just off the cliffs, really close to the ocean. This is Lisa. Lisa works for La Crema just to focus on the Cabernet Sauvignon. And if you're thinking, wait, La Crema makes Cabernet Sauvignon, we've only been doing it for 2 years, right? We've always been Chard and Pinot driven. But recently we've started dabbling with it. And Lisa used to be the winemaker for a winery of ours called Stone Street. If you've ever hung out with me at any of Tahira's Wine and Culture Fest, I usually try to pour Stone Street. And so she used to work for Stone Street. She moved to Australia right before COVID hit. And like Australia being an island country had the strictest rules. So she was there and couldn't really live life. So moved back here. So now it's great. We have this Cabernet mountain woman focusing on this wine, which is great. She's incredible. Whenever I see her at like a 10 a.m. meeting, her teeth are just absolutely purple from trying so many barrels early in the morning, and she does not hide it. And so she's really cool. And when you're working these mountains, she's on an ATV with a headlamp covering 5,500 acres at 5, 6, 7 a.m. when it's time to pick fruit. She has anti-venom with her because if she gets bit by a rattlesnake, she doesn't have enough time to get to where she needs to. She has to take care of it, right? Certified badass. So this is the Cabernet. So 82% Cab, Monica, got a little bit of Merlot in there. And this is all mountain fruit. So it's labeled Sonoma County because that's how it qualifies, but really it's kind of in between. So y'all, I know when you think California Cab, we all think Napa. I swear, I host what we call trade, people in the wine industry, and they'll call their special someone, and we'll be in Sonoma County, and they'll be like, oh, I'm drinking Cab in Napa, right? That's just how it is. Napa, it's always Napa first, but we all know about Napa Cab, right? When you spend $100 for a bottle of Napa Cabernet Sauvignon, you're not spending that money for how it tastes now. You're spending it for how it's going to taste in 10, 15, 20 years, right? Because the tannin is so intense, right? You drink it, you get dried out. You want to age it so the tannin will soften and all those beautiful fruit, savory, tertiary notes come out. Now, Sonoma County Cab is different. It's not so much dark fruited, it's red fruited. It's more elegant. You can age it, but you don't have to. You can drink it young. So think of the La Crema Cab being right in between because it literally grows in the mountain range, splitting Sonoma County and Napa. And look, I am not a homer, but I'm telling you this: buy this wine on your wine store or when you're at your local market because it's a total steal. Because mountain fruit going into is not usually going into what we call the drive or the supermarket wine. So this is a complete steal. Just a map. So when you come visit me, you understand what's going on. I mentioned Bennett Valley. Here it is. Russian River Valley, you can see you're really close to the ocean. So if you were to go to France, right, you would go drink your Chardonnay Pinot in Burgundy, and then you'd have to drive 5-6 hours to Bordeaux to get your Cab, your Merlot, your Sauv Blanc. They have laws restricting it, but also climatically, it's too hot in Bordeaux to grow Pinot. You save a lot of gas money when you visit us in Northern California, right? This Russian River Valley, this is your Burgundy, okay? Yeah, we grow Cab and other grapes too, but this is where Chardonnay and Pinot Noir reign supreme. You literally just have to drive here 10 minutes north to Healdsburg and you're in Bordeaux. Just by going inland this much, the temperature raises because we're going farther away from the coast. It can be 5, 10, 15 degrees hotter. It's crazy. I will be in Healdsburg in the morning, or excuse me, Russian River, and it's super cold, and I'll take that drive, and all of a sudden I'm taking off the sweatshirt and it's hot. So just so you can understand what's going on and how close these regions are, you can see Carneros. If you see a bottle labeled Los Carneros Pinot, that means it grew on the Sonoma County side. Los Carneros does grow in Napa too, but they use it mostly for sparkling wine. I love this map. This is like a Ben style map. I can just digest this way easier. And it just kind of shows you what's going on. You had Matanzas Creek. We have this here because we may or may not have truffles growing. If I was to take you to the site, I'd have to put a bag over your head because like there's crazy people in the truffle industry that'll break in and try to steal it. Here's the Petaluma Gap right here. You can see one of the newest wine regions, West Sonoma County, kind of the cool kid club right over here. And all these things grow, right? What you had grapes growing through here by all the European pioneers, and then Prohibition hit, and they planted. So they had to pull out their grapevines, and they planted their other things. You know, the Italians planted olives. You had the Russians and Ukrainians and Eastern Europeans planting like Gravenstein apple and lemons and fruit. But what people didn't uproot was their Zinfandel. So when you come to this area, I can show you Zinfandel that's 125 years old. We can taste it, and it's really cool. And then, of course, Prohibition ended and people replanted their grapes. So just like a fun map. That's a real nerdy map we don't need to get into. And then last thing on the slides before we just hang out and talk, we are the partners of the NBA. KJ is the partner. Kendall Jackson's the partner of the NBA. La Creme is the partner of the WNBA. But really, all Jackson family wines. Because trust me, when they're on their jets flying to games, they're drinking that Cardinal, the LaCroix, all those wines I mentioned. If any of you know the Playa Society, she just designed this cool label. So we have a very specific La Crema shouting out the WNBA wine. And yeah, it's really cool. We're looking to get more involved with it. The NBA and WNBA is the wine league, right? That's what they're drinking for recovery. They don't want to be taking pills, right? I mean, football had to learn the hard way, getting addicted to that. Y'all might remember Amari Stoudemire if you're a basketball fan. He used to swim in a bath of wine. I have the pleasure. I get to hang out with Baron Davis tomorrow. I'm a Golden State Warriors fan. So if you know Baron, that's like, he's him. And so obviously you can tell I'm really excited about the partnership, but this is a way that we're trying to get younger folks to drink. That's right, Monica, to drink wine because so many basketball fans like wine, right? So many wine people love basketball, but a lot of basketball people aren't in that wine world, right? Like NBA has been partnered with Hennessy and they've done great with that. And, You go to a game, and usually, like me, if I'm at a game, I'm drinking a beer. If I'm at home watching the Warriors, I'm drinking a beer, tequila, whatever. You can drink wine, right? Wine doesn't have to be an expensive glass, right? And so we're trying to bridge that gap because wine is super food friendly. All the stuff you're eating when you're watching a game, and we're just trying to, I can't tell you how many times I meet someone. It's usually a guy, and I try to get them to drink wine. It's like, no, I'm a simple man. I drink beer. Okay, you're trading one crop for the other. Okay. So grapes are fancy all of a sudden, and grains aren't. Trust me, this is wine country is also beer country. Beer people geek out more than anything, right? And so it's about that education, like, right? It's like I said, it's fermented grape juice. The more you drink, the taller I'm going to look, funnier I'm going to be, the better our food's going to taste, the better experience we're going to have. And so it's just about bridging that gap. I'll get off my soapbox, but it's as a basketball fan, it's like more people should be drinking wine. All right, that's enough of the slide. So let's talk. Any questions you have in? Wait, Monica. Wait, what does snake mean, Monica?
Oh, you said the lady had an anti-venom?
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. Like, if y'all want to come work harvest for us, let me tell you something. I know everyone thinks this is walking through the vines with your glass of wine. We've all seen that. That's right. Gail knows. It ain't it, right? You're waking up early. You're doing all the things I said, right? Because you pick your fruit early because it's like when we unplug our phones from the charger, you're losing juice faster. So you got to pick your fruit earlier so it doesn't raisin in the heat or mess up the skin from the light and the phenols. So you're up super early. You're doing that. What we call cordons, right? When you think of a grapevine, you have the fruit hanging, and then there's the thick branches. Those are cordons. Rattlesnakes will sleep on those. Okay, so you're gloved out. You got sweatshirts, right? And side note, shout out to vineyard workers because they do that super early. They hit a food truck and then they start their second job at like 11 noon, right? Like nothing but respect. Um, and then okay, and then the hard work just gets started. Then you're in the winery. All right, what you think you're going to foot tread? Just stomp on some juice. This ain't I Love Lucy. All right, now we do some of that. When I was with Monica, we hung out at one of our wineries called Copan. Copan is super old school. We will do foot treading, but think if you've ever seen like a stainless steel tank in person or when you've seen videos or whatever, and there's like a little, like a, it looks like a wheel. And that's, so what happens is we get the juice. When you make red wine, you get you bring in all the grapes, right? That's the difference with red wine and white wine. White, you separate the skins and the juice. Red wine, you get the berries in there. Then you get the juice out. So you're left with pumice. You're left with, right? You're left with seeds, sticks, stems. And we all know no seeds, no stems, right? So then it's time to get those out. So imagine 3 foot high pile of that. It's super dense. Well, guess what? You have to climb through that hole to get in there. And what we do is we hook you up to a carbon monoxide reader, a harness. And if because alcohol is being formed naturally and it'll go off. So you're working hard, breathing it in, you might pass out, but it's okay. We can drag you out, right? It is hardcore. Winemaking is super hardcore. And so like you just gain so much respect when you see them doing it. Like I'm lucky. My busy season is during harvest. So like I might go work a day because I'm hosting our business partners. That's one thing I do. But I might work a day and be like, oh, that was a good day's work. My back, I feel it. They're doing this 6-7 days a week. And when it's fire season, sometimes there's fires going on. They can see it and they're just grinding. So nothing but respect. And it's truly, I mean, it's a labor of love. And yeah, that's how much I can go off when I just see the word snake. So if you have any questions or you want to talk about any trends or anything, those were the 4 wines that we sort of picked, and 4 of the many, women that inspire us all the time. Any questions, y'all?
I have a question. Why did you have to put me on blast? Okay.
Yeah.
That's something 5 years ago. 6. I don't even know what
All right.
I'm.
Well, I wasn't going to go farther, but let's just wrap it up. So let's just wrap that story up so people can understand. So my company, our CEO, our VPs were so enthralled with Tahira. We saw her on that cover. We remember that cover. Can't forget it. We saw her speech, and we were so inspired. And so we flew Tahira up, and I was lucky enough to be the person that spent time with T. And and I got to educate her on some of her wineries, which were great because She had some predetermined thoughts, as we all do in wine, right? Until we learn. Um, and and then we had a lunch with our CEO and our VP, and
Oh
to
my.
hear just to hear,
Oh,
oh yeah, KJ La Crema, I know you guys. You're just supermarket wine,
oh
and
my God.
we got Verite over here, 500 a pop cardinal, and our CEO loved that, because our company, our CEO is from Modesto. Don't worry about visiting Modesto, California. All right. This guy was the this guy was like the captain of his football team, quarterback, but was getting jumped and shot at and couldn't afford lunch. So the coach would get it for him. He had a father in prison, an alcoholic mother, and the dude was able to go to San Diego State and became the beer rep of like Bud Light and just worked his way up. And so like the rags to riches story, he understands it. He thought that was really funny because wine was new to him too. And I mean, Tahira wasn't wrong. That's kind of like, that's what pays the bills is those supermarket wines, but then we really get to show off these wines. And so, take advantage of your wine store, right? You guys are getting the same discount we get. And those are, if you ever have any questions, just hit me up, be like, is this a good wine? Do I want to buy this? What's good on this? Because we got the first date wine, we got the third date wine, we got impress the in-laws wine, we got everything. We got the wines that me and my coworkers are drinking at home, which we're getting for $10, or even less at 50% off. And we know where they're coming from, where the fruit is, and they're super high quality. So yeah, but don't worry, we brought Tahira back. We let her film her biography at Verite. I don't know if you guys saw that, but you had a good time, right, Tahira? Your silence speaks
Sorry,
volume.
I couldn't find the audio. Yes. Yes. I
Yeah.
don't think they let anybody film at Verite after that though.
I think you're the one and only. It's pretty cool.
Leave it
Pretty,
that way.
yeah, yeah. And another thing is, I hope all of you. I don't know if you guys are going to make it, but I'll be at Wine and Culture Fest, and I'm going to be showing. Monica knows. I don't come in empty handed. Lindsay and I will be coming out with a lot of different wines, so you get to be more familiar with our portfolio. Y'all have any questions,
Yeah, I'll
comments?
be at Wine
Yeah.
and Culture Fest. But I'm pretty new to this whole thing. So like I really like I've never been to a full scale vineyard, and seen all the
Yeah.
different production and everything. Like I really want to get out there and see some new things. And you're talking about, Oregon and California. Like how I get out there
Yeah. Where are you based? Are you in Philly or where are you based?
in DC,
You're in DC.
Maryland,
Yeah.
Indiana.
Well, I mean, every state has vineyards, right? So you have them locally. I can't vouch for which states are, every state got a different expression of wine. Um, you know, Look, here's the thing. I can't get you here. I can't buy your ticket to California, but Brandon, I can set you and friends up for complimentary tastings so you can taste for free. So if you get out here, I can set you up at a bunch of places. I'll meet up with you. I'll call it, that's work for me, business partner right there, and we'll talk. There's something, first off, wine always tastes best in the vineyards, right? But it's so much easier to learn when you're there, when you're touching the different soils, when you're in the vineyard, when you're in the wineries. Like everything seems so complex to me. Like, so I was hired my first 2 years, I sold wine in Mexico. I didn't know shit about wine. And I was doing that thing where I'm reading the back of labels, I'm pouring wine, and I'm like, yep, kiss of hibiscus, lemon, meringue, and because that's what we do. And you don't have that confidence. And then it's incredible. Like everyone here, you guys know more than most people in the world about wine. Once you just know a little bit, it's kind of like math. Once you get multiplication and division and adding, subtracting, it opens the rest of the world. Once you kind of understand what each grape, each wine's about and the climate it needs, you get to piece everything together. And so, Brandon, I would love you to come out and, you know, we could do it all. You want to see that bougie side? We can do that. You want to hang out with sheep and sheepdogs and see what we're really about, and that's what I like to do. We can do that. I can show you how to pair with, you want to do the caviar experience, we can do that. You want to see how we pair with In and Out and our local Mexican food, we do that too, right? And so that's really what wine's all about. Let me tell you, we watch the videos, you see these psalms, but when you hang out with winemakers, it's all about just being salt of the earth. Just you need a thing of cheese, and your wine and a good view or a person you love, and that's all it's about. And that really is wine, Brandon. So tell me what got you in. What is making you want to dive deeper into the wine world?
Honestly, like I wanted to open a winery one day.
Okay.
But now I'm like learning like, oh man, like there's like all these different steps, and I'm like, wow, like that's a lot. Uh, um, but like I'm kind of just fascinated with the idea. I never like thought that wine was so complex, like so many different like, I'm just learning that I learned like earlier this year or last year, like the wines are named after the grapes, and I'm like now I feel like an idiot because I didn't know
No, no,
that,
no, no.
you know.
You will realize you know a lot about wine when you realize you don't know shit about wine. It's like you take two steps forward and you got to take that step back because sometimes that whole thing I'm still learning because sometimes a wine is named after the grape. Sometimes it's named after the region. It's like, okay, Nebbiolo. So Nebbiolo is the grape, but what's Barbaresco and what's okay? They're both Nebbiolo, but one's one region. It's so confusing. And like once you get to France and Italy, they don't. We make it easy here. We go. This is the winery, Penarash. The grapes were picked in 22. It's from the Willamette Valley, and the grape is Pinot Noir. You go to France, they expect you to know what grapes grow in each region. So it'll just say, a Burgundy red, and you have to know, okay, so that's probably Pinot Noir, maybe Gamay, right? Like it's crazy. So don't worry, Brandon. No one knows what's going on. We've all just are at different levels of learning. I always do this. So our company, we have 10 master sommeliers on our staff, right? There's like 300 in the world, right? These are the ones that you see them doing blind tasting. Oh, this is from that chateau on this side of the river. Let me tell you something. The 12-year-old that grew up on the island of Santorini, Greece with their family who makes wine knows so much more about Santorini wines than that master sommelier who got divorced because they were dedicating too much time to reading about wine, couldn't be with their family, right? Like that's what I'm telling you. It's a universal, it's like art. There's really not a lot of right and wrong answers, and it is intimidating, but don't any person that makes you feel like they're not real deal. We don't like that. Yeah. Come on out, Brandon. I got you.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good.
This work. And yeah, with that red Zin, barbecue and Zin all day. Jamila, Gale, Teresa.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, yeah. So I do have a question. It's great to see you, Ben. I actually met you a few years ago with Murphy Good, with the Murphy Good experience.
Okay. You've been smiling, and I'm like, why do you look? I've been trying to put it together.
Yeah, so it's great to see you. I remember we were at the La Crema vineyard, and I remember noticing chickens. And I know you
Yeah.
mentioned mountain lions. How do farm animals and just animals in general affect harvest?
Thank you for asking that. And by the way, if anyone needs to leave, you go. I will not be offended. I know we have live. I know East Coast, it's late. By the way, Jamila, Lindsay Perry, who won, she'll be coming with
Yes.
me.
Yeah, I'm
So
excited to see her. Yes.
yeah, yeah, we
Ben,
love
Yeah,
Lindsay.
yeah.
real quick, Ben, can you stop recording? I can't.
Oh,
You're the host.
stop. Stop.